up, everybody? My name is Amy, and this is the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. My name is Amy. Welcome to my show. Hope everyone is having a wonderful week. It's definitely been a crazy week. Actually, these past couple of weeks. Just when I think things cannot get any crazier, they do. So I have some things on my mind that I want to talk about. Hi, Fried Green Tomatoes and Country Christian. How are y'all doing today? Awesome. So glad to have you. So, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I'm from the old school, okay? I was raised in the 70s and 80s. I wasn't raised in this whole new TikTok generation. And I don't know what else to call it except for the TikTok generation. But when I say the TikTok generation or, YouTube generation, I'm talking about all these social media influencers and social media creators and YouTube creators and, all these people on these different platforms who get paid to do absolutely nothing, or they get paid to do stuff that is just absolutely ridiculous. And, while there's some things that I watch, like there's some channels that I watch King C, Clarence. He's a black Labrador retriever, talking dog, that's just funny as hell. And then there's the three Southern cats, plus Mama and Dapper, aka Tangerine, that I watch, and they are just so cute and so funny, and I watch them. But it's this whole generation of creators that are, like I said, getting paid to do either stupid shit or absolutely nothing. And we have a lot of that. You like the three Southern cats too? Oh, hey Eve, how are you? Yeah, three Southern cats, they are hilarious. Willow and Dapper and Tigger and Weezer the crackhead. they just crack me up. If y'all have never watched the Three Southern Cats, look them up on YouTube or TikTok or Facebook. They are absolutely hilarious. And hey, to you, how are you? I I recently found King Clarence, who is a black Labrador retriever, and he refers to his dad as Vladimir Putin, and his mama is Kim Jong Mom. So it's hilarious. You got to look King C up here on YouTube. But for those of you that are like new here to my channel that don't know much about me, I've been involved in true crime since the late 80s. Some friends of mine were murdered in my hometown in 1987, and it introduced me to the world of true crime. It introduced me to the world of injustice. It introduced me to the world of dirty politics and dirty cops and dirty governors and just a completely dirty criminal justice system. And from then on, I became interested in true crime and started, following all the major cases that happened throughout the 90s, 2000s, and then here we are in 2023. I went to school for criminal justice and journalism for 3 years. And I was true crime before true crime was cool, okay? Long before there was YouTube or long before there was TikTok and all that kind of stuff. And in my wildest dreams, I have pounded the pavement. I have fought my city council. I have fought governors. I have fought dirty police officers, dirty sheriffs, dirty police chiefs, dirty mayors, you name it. And I have stood up to the worst of the worst, all in the name of justice. Justice for my friends who were murdered in the late 80s, and justice for the West Memphis Three. Many of y'all know that I have been a longtime supporter of the West Memphis Three, and it's not just about justice for the three who I believe were wrongly accused, which were Damien, Jesse, and Jason, but just as much equally true justice for Stevie, Michael, and Lord, y'all, my mind just went blank. Christopher. And there have been a lot of other cases here in Arkansas that, like I said, I have fought my state for justice. And our country, the United States of America, in our pledge, it says, in liberty and justice for all. And I could not ever imagine asking someone to pay me to beg my country or my state or my hometown for justice. So that is why my channel is not monetized. It would never be monetized. If I had 1 million followers, it wouldn't be monetized. It's why you don't ever see me flash my Cash App or anything like that. To spread awareness about true crime and missing kids and murdered victims, it's just not something that my morals, the morals that I was raised with, I just could not take a dime of blood money. And that's what I call it, blood money, off the back of a murder victim or a missing child. And, but many people in the world do. People write books and they produce movies and documentaries and all kinds of stuff, and they get paid for it. That's just something that my morals won't allow me to do. And it's not something that I think my mother would be proud of. She's always been proud of me for standing up for what I believe in. She was always proud of me for fighting for justice. I mean, it was one of her closest best friends who has actually been accused of murdering my friends back in 1987. That's the real kicker about it. And I'll never in my life forget my mother being bedridden, and something had come on the news about it. And she said, "Amy, do you really think that Danny is guilty of this?" And I said, "Mama, I just don't know anymore. I just don't know. But all I do know is that I can't defend him anymore. I can only sweep so much shit under the rug, and I can't defend him anymore." That's a hard ass pill to swallow. You call it blood money too? Hi, Phyllis. How are you? It's good to see you in my chat. You always leave the sweetest comments on my videos and stuff. So I could never ask for money, off the back of any victims. And so I do this here on YouTube because not only do I, want justice for victims, I want to, find missing kids and spread awareness, about things like trafficking and even share my own personal experiences to help the next person. But I just could not get paid for it. And I don't understand is, I get it. We're in an era where you can make money doing anything. We moved into that in the 90s. We kind of moved into that whole era of famous for being famous, and then we rolled into the 2000s and people were becoming famous for being reality TV stars and becoming famous for sex tapes and becoming famous for being 16 and pregnant. Like, I want my MTV back. I want my Warrant Cherry Pie video. I want my Motley Crue Shout at the Devil videos. I want my MTV playing those awesome videos they used to play. But no, they're making people famous for getting pregnant when they're 16 years old. And then go on to do sex tapes. Farrah Abraham. My girls watch that trash. And I'm like, why? So, maybe, like I said, you just can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I just don't, understand this whole era we're in. And frankly, I don't want to understand it, to tell you the truth. I don't want to understand it. But, there's a lot of talk about money in regards to YouTubers, and who's making such and such amount of money, and who's a tragedy pimp, and who's a grifter, and all this kind of stuff, and everybody's just at each other's throats over who's making money and all this stuff. And then you got your hate channels who are out here making money off these so-called tragedy pimp grifters, YouTube creators they don't like, and they're getting paid to sit and talk shit about these people. Now, there's a lot of YouTubers on here that I don't like, but I just say it and move on. You know, I don't spend my every day of my life dedicated to making videos about YouTube creators that I don't like and getting paid for it. That's the whole crazy thing about it is everybody's getting paid for all of this mess. And it has gotten so out of control. And I'm not feeding egos anymore. You know, I gave a few people a chance when I actually knew better than to give them a chance, but I did. I gave a few people a chance. And all they are is egos that want your money and want you to buy memberships to their channel and pay for content from a free platform. They want you to pay them for their content. And here I am, lonely old me over here, free subscribe, free hit the like button, free to talk to me, you know, free friendship, free loyalty, free honesty, the whole 9 yards. And people avoid me like the fucking plague. I don't understand. What am I doing wrong? Am I that boring? Is my content that bad? Is it because I can't go to these people's houses and stand out in their yard and scream and yell like a wild banshee? Or I can't go stand in front of the Hawkins County Police Department or the Idaho Police Department and go live? I mean, that actually means something. You know, I just don't understand. You know, what it is that I'm doing wrong that people don't even want to talk to me or listen to my channel or watch my show or come and participate. Because I can actually do panels and stuff now. I just never have because, you know, it seems along the way I gain a few followers and then, you know, they just poof, disappear. And I don't know where they go. And I think I've pissed a couple of people off with my political opinions, but, you know, I can't help it. I'm not here to entertain crybabies, and I'm not here to entertain the politically correct. Like I said, I'm an old dog from the old school, and I was raised in a completely different world than what we are seeing now. So I'm just trying to understand, you know, why people will continuously go and watch these channels and pay for these memberships, and you know, these channels get thousands of views and they're making blood money off of all these tragedies. And yet people would rather go and pay for their content and pay to listen to them as to, chit chat and, have discussions for absolutely free. Like I said, am I that horrible? Am I that boring? Am I that, does my channel suck that damn bad? People do you the same way, Eve? They want drama, fried green tomatoes. Exactly. YouTube has actually become a, a reality show in its own self. And, there's even some YouTube creators who have tried to get a reality show out of being true crime commentators. Um, we won't mention any names, but yeah. But I'm not here to feed egos anymore. Um, I've shown my support to a lot of people and got absolutely no support in return. And, it seems that, I don't know, this so-called true crime community has made nothing but a mockery of all these cases. If it's not certain creators that are going to the scenes making a mockery out of the cases, it's their haters that are making a mockery out of the case. So, and so y'all know that so much of this spun out of the Summer Wells case, and it has only gotten worse. It's only gotten worse. And I cry every day over little Summer. And I pray to God that she never has to know about any of this garbage that has trashed her name. Any of these creators, her parents, everyone that has trashed that poor little girl's name and her legacy and made a mockery out of whatever happened to her. And, I don't mind people that support the Wells, people that believe in their innocence or innocent until proven guilty, or don't want to believe. Nobody wants to believe that a parent would do anything to their own child, but unfortunately they do. And you also have parents that accidents happen and they cover crimes up, which causes an even bigger mess in the end. And we don't know what we're dealing with the whole Summer Wells case. But it's, I pray that child never has to know any of it. But and like I said, if people want to, support the Wells and believe that they're innocent, that's all fine and dandy. Like I said, there's people that I support that are actual convicted child murderers. They've been convicted. But I believe that they're innocent. And there's evidence to support that they're innocent. It's not just, I met him and, oh, he's a sweet guy. I don't think he could have killed them kids. No, there's evidence to support their innocence. But I've yet to see any evidence so far that does point away from Don and Candace in regards to Summer. But I would be more than willing to support them if there was. Let me be clear about that. You know, I believed for a long time that the Ramseys were guilty until the Lou Schmidt investigation, and then I felt horrible. But, you know, I was one of millions of people that believed those parents were guilty. And I'm not alone in believing that Don and Candace have covered some shit up in regards to Summer's disappearance. What? I don't actually know. But Summer is my passion. I don't see anything that you're doing wrong. Folks are chasing the money and the drama. It's the thing nowadays. Yeah. And I guess to you, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, wore it out, and sold it at a garage sale. You know, been there and done that. And don't want no part of it anymore. My child is calling. You're on live.
Hello.
With the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. What may I do for you?
I guess I accidentally took your Cowboys cup.
Yeah, I've been wondering where that went.
Yeah, somehow it ended up in my bag of the stuff that you got me, because I just started putting everything up because today's my day off, and I was like, I don't remember her giving me something wrapped in newspaper, and then I opened it and it was your cup.
Okay. Well, I wondered where it ended up. I didn't know if it was still in your sister's car or what had happened, but I knew I didn't make it home with it.
Yeah, it ended up in my stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. You can either send it to me or just, if you do, make sure it's wrapped really good, because the last coffee cup I actually tried to buy online got to me broken.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's like wrapped up.
There's Mary. It matters. How are you?
Hello, everyone.
Y'all, this is my daughter. She's back in Washington. We're just talking about the crazy YouTube creator and TikTok generation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Coachella is going on right now, so that's all that's going on TikTok.
Oh, really? Anybody good at Coachella right now?
182.
Oh my God! I watched the Kardashians last night.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Courtney and her white trash wedding, I guess because she's married to a rock star now, that she thinks she has to be white trash. So she wore all these, about 50 different white trash wedding dresses. Basically, it was underwear with a tablecloth. I kid you not. I've got a tablecloth that looks like her wedding veil.
Yeah. Did you make this bracelet or did you buy it? This.
What? The Stranger Things bracelet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it like that.
Oh, okay. Cute. Yeah, Blink 182, Frank Ocean, Bad Bunny, I think Papa Roach might have performed. I'm not for sure.
Yeah, that's our band right there. Me and Shaughnessy went and seen Papa Roach. When was that when we saw Papa Roach?
Like, I was a freshman.
We were right up front. And God, it was hot as hell. And poor little scrawny Shaughnessy got stuck in between these two heavy-set chicks.
Yeah.
She couldn't breathe.
It was worth it, though.
And that's the last time I ever stood in a mosh pit.
Oh, yeah, because you weren't up front with me at, when we saw Brett. It was just me by myself.
No, yeah. When we saw Brett Michaels at Juanita's, You weren't 18 yet, were you?
No, I wasn't even.
That's right. I took my
I was a
underage
sophomore.
child to a bar to see a rock star from the 80s. Y'all, that's how terrible of a mother I am.
Yeah,
But
I was a sophomore.
they it was okay that she was able to go because there was not an age limit on there was not an age limit put on the show, even though it was held in a bar. But this place also served food, so she was able to go. But she was the youngest person there, and she stood right up front in front of Brett the whole time. But my days of standing in a mosh pit were over after Papa Roach. My back won't hold up to it, so. Do what? Oh, Candace is working on drywall, doing drywall with Dawn. Well, good for her. I wondered if, um, I asked Mary today on her channel if anybody knew whether or not Dawn was working. Oh, your first marriage, wedding, reception was straight out of Sweet Home, Alabama. Well, that's cute. Well, I mean, when Shaughnessy and Harley got married, she wore a short wedding dress that was absolutely adorable. My mother wore a short wedding dress when she married my dad. But Courtney was just wearing underwear with a lace tablecloth. I'm serious. You got to watch it. I that's kind of stuff I do when I get bored.
Yeah.
Like, well, let's see what the Kardashians are doing.
That's
And
just stuff with clean my entire house.
the first episode was Courtney and Travis's 3 weddings. Oh, everybody was telling Candace to get a job. That's the thing, Mimi V, is I don't think I'm cut out for 2023 either. That's my whole issue too, is that and my child is my witness. I just don't function well with this generation. I just don't quite get it all. And this one has been there with me since she was a little girl. A little girl. She has gone to rallies with me. She has gone to the state capitol with me, delivered letters to the governor. She has sat through so many city council meetings. It's unreal. And
Oh yeah, speaking of that, I gotta tell you about the whole library thing.
oh, okay. Oh, what's going on? Something's going on in our hometown with our library.
So basically, there's this couple that is trying to defund. I don't know who they are. They're trying to defund the library, and there was like a big rally down at the courthouse. But they apparently, whoever is making the decision or whatever, had made up their mind about it before they even had the rally. So everybody that showed up and tried to and spoke and stuff, like, they just didn't even care.
Huh. Well, I'm going to have to look more into it and find out if it's somebody I know and exactly what is going on and why in the world would you want to defund your public library? It makes no sense. like I said, unless it's some politically correct new generation kind of crap saying, oh, there's racist books or there's anti-LGBT books or something in the library. I don't know. I mean, people are nuts nowadays. You know that.
That's kind of what it is, except that I think. Never mind. I'll have to tell you about it privately.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty then. Yeah, because I figure if it's something that Sam is going and participating in, you know how she is about the politically correct stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's everybody that I know. Like, I've seen a lot of people that I went to school with posting about it.
Oh, really?
Like all of us that have like grown up there.
Yeah.
And like have gone to that library since we were kids.
Yeah.
And it's people I went to school with. It's because I saw pictures from the rally. So it's people I went to school with. It's adults. It's it's all different generations of people.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. Like I said, we'll talk about it privately, and I'm gonna have to look more into it and see exactly what in the heck's going on because,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that was one of our things that we used to do is we didn't live very far from the library. And we would go up to the library. We would walk up to the library and hang out at the library and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, my elementary school is around the corner from the library, so we used to go on field trips there all the time.
Yeah. And, I, of course, remember when the library was in the old Palace Theater,
Yeah.
And it's it's nuts. But I'm glad you called me and reminded me about that because I need to look into it and see what the heck is going on. But
yeah,
I mean, defunding a library or saying that a library is somehow in the wrong, that's, to me, that is going way too far.
yeah.
Like, what could possibly be wrong with the library? I mean, when you start trying to take books away from people, and that's one thing that's been done in this new woke generation is books that have been taken off the shelves and off the market and not being studied in school and stuff like that because they're either racist or they're anti-LGBTQ or they're misogynistic or anti-feminist or something is wrong with them.
Yeah.
What's going on, y'all? Wait, Kim, or I'm sorry, Don did good, but those two, whose panel was Don on? Right, Don's not going to say anything new. Yeah, and when Don, I don't watch the lab, so Don goes on all these channels that I don't watch and ain't gonna watch. And until Don is ready to talk about something new, I ain't got no reason to listen to him. Oh, your dryer shut off, so duty calls. Well, you have a great night too, Mimi V, and thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you stopping by. Like I said, when Don is ready for some real talk, he can give Mary and I a call because we would certainly love to talk to him and ask him a hell of a whole lot of questions. But yeah, I don't watch Josh the Lab or okay, Mimi, cool. I don't even watch Chris McDonough. So anyway. Yeah, I just don't understand all this, drama and like I said, feeding egos and feeding the cash cows. Um, in the name of justice. You know, and like I said, this one sitting here on the phone with me is my witness, and she's been there through it all and pounded that pavement and pounded those courthouse steps and that, the state capitol steps with me, and never once would I have ever asked for a dime to get justice for Kevin and Don or Stevie, Christopher, and Michael, and Damien, Jesse, and Jason, and Janie Ward, and everybody that we have fought for so hard here in Arkansas, just here in Arkansas, to get justice. The pledge says in liberty and justice for all. So, no one should have to beg their country or their state or their government for justice. In my opinion, like I said, it's just blood money. Kind of like the time old Terry Hobbs tried to sue Natalie Maines from the Dixie Chicks. He wasn't trying to sue John Mark Byers, who was talking trash about him, because John Mark Byers didn't have a penny to his name. He was trying to sue Natalie Maines from the Dixie Chicks for calling him a murderer. Shit, I called our police chief a murderer to his face.
Have you talked about all these new things that are going on with these 3 different teenagers that have gotten killed?
No, I haven't. I have not even been able to get into that whole situation. Have y'all been following the case in Alabama with the teenagers, 3 16-year-old or the 3 teenagers, that there was a shooting at a Sweet 16 birthday party, and they've arrested 3 teenagers in connection with it? You're following it, Kim?
I haven't seen that one. I've only been paying attention to the 15-year-old that got killed trying to go pick up his siblings.
Yeah, the one that went to the wrong house.
Yeah, there was a cheerleader in Texas that got shot and is in ICU because she accidentally got into the wrong car. And then there was another girl, I think the other girl was like my age or something, that her and her friends were trying to go to another friend's house, and literally all they did was pull their car into somebody's driveway and use it to turn around. Like, I was telling Harley about it yesterday. Like, do you remember when we had that construction on our road and how many people had to use our driveway to turn around? If we'd have killed every person that turned around in our driveway, we'd be serial killers.
Yeah, definitely. See, that's the thing, is people have gone nuts. People have lost their minds. It's like people think that, because, of the whole, school shootings and shooting banks and concerts and all this stuff, everybody's armed theirself, and now everybody just wants to shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah,
And
like
people
how?
just shoot you for nothing now.
Yeah, how crazy does your life have to be that you have to feel the need to shoot somebody for knocking on your door or using your driveway to turn around?
Oh my gosh, I'd have been dead a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, many driveways as I've turned around in. Oh, to you. He didn't die, though. I do believe he was hospitalized. He went to get his twin brother, but went to the wrong address in Texas and got shot.
Yeah, they said that he made it out of surgery.
Uh-huh.
Like he was fighting for his life, and I believe he's doing okay right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, there's been so many just in the last few days. I know that there was a teenager shooting, I believe, in Florida. And then there was the one in Alabama, and then there's the one with this kid going to the wrong house. And I didn't even hear about the cheerleader.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it was in Texas. I might be just getting the stories mixed up.
yeah. Well, there's so many that you can't keep up with all of them. And yet you got all these folks out here on YouTube, they just spreading more hate and spreading more hate. And then people want to ask what the hell's wrong with the world. I don't know. I mean, I know you hate it when I get on my preaching rants, but we're living in the end times, and if y'all don't think we're living in the end times, y'all please wake up. I mean, in my 53 years of life, I've never seen shit this bad.
Yeah.
And nowhere is safe. You can't go to school, you can't go to church, you can't go to a concert, you can't go to Walmart, you can't go to a bar. You can't, you know, you can't even like be public about something you support, or like be public about who you are. You can't. You're condemned for saying you're a Christian. You're condemned for if you say you're a Trump supporter. You're condemned if you say you're LGBTQ. You're condemned if you you're just condemned for everything. I read an article today that, it's called Cancel Culture. I do too, fried green tomatoes. It's my granddaughter who's 11, which she belongs to my oldest daughter. The world she's growing up in now, when these two finally ever do have kids, I can't imagine what kind of world they're going to be living in.
Well, and a lot of people wonder why my generation doesn't want to have children, and it's because of all of this.
Yeah. A white 84-year-old homeowner who allegedly shot and wounded Ralph Yarl, a black teen, after the 16-year-old went to the wrong home to pick up his siblings, will face 2 felony charges. That was Kansas.
Okay, well that's good, because originally, because the kid hadn't died, they hadn't arrested him.
Oh, okay. Kansas, not Texas. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it's okay, to you. Like I said, there's just so many that have happened just this past week that I don't even know about all of them yet. She mentioned this cheerleader, and I didn't even know about that one. I knew about these other ones, but hadn't had a chance to even get into the stories because, I've been trying to keep up with the uh, Lori Vallow's Daybell trial, and oh gosh, man, that is a mess. Her son, Colby, um, went on the stand, and that has to be the saddest, one of the saddest testimonies I have ever had to hear in all of my years of following trials and watching, trials on TV and stuff like that. That is horrible what he you know, and him confronting his mother, you killed my siblings and buried them in your new husband's backyard. You weren't there. You don't know what happened. You don't understand. You don't know what happened. And I stand with Jesus, and I'm good with Jesus, and blah 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 blah. You know, you just don't know what happened. You just don't know what happened. No, there is no excuse for killing your kids, and then because you say that they're zombies, and burying them in your new husband's backyard. Like, what are you going to try to claim, some kind of self-defense against two young kids? So you had to kill them? There is nothing that she could come up with that could make sense. And I said this the other night. There is no religious book on the face of this earth, not any of the versions of the Bible that I have, and I have 5 different versions of the Bible sitting right here with me. 5 different versions. There's no version of the Bible, there's no version of the Book of Mormon, there's no version of the Quran or any other book that tells you that murder is okay. They all, in some way, shape, fashion, form, or language, say, thou shalt not kill. Plain and simple. And that you are not the judge, that God is the only judge. So, what in God's name she thinks she could come up with is beyond me. Y'all, my grandson is a white husky, and his name is Apollo Creed. Sit and ponder that one.
Don't expose me like that.
2 Texas cheerleaders were shot, one critically after one of them mistakenly got into the wrong car. The suspect, Pedro Tello Rodriguez Jr., 25, charged with deadly conduct, a 3rd-degree felony. Deadly conduct? What does that mean, OOTU? I've never heard that charge before. I know charges are all different in a lot of different states, but I've never heard that charge. Deadly conduct. Huh.
Apparently everybody else is looking it up because I just Googled it and there's like a bunch of search engines about it. So it says, well, this just says what is the punishment for it. It says An offense under subsection B would make the conviction for deadly conduct a felony of the third degree with a maximum possible fine under Texas state law of up to $10,000 and prison time for up to 20 years.
Yeah, attempted murder. Yeah, that's basically what it'd have to be, is attempted murder.
All these search results are about Texas because that's where it happened.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Texas, they flat believe in the death penalty, so. I mean, just. Man, I got in the wrong car one time, and I was high as a kite, too, when I did it. I was at the dentist, and I had some dental work done, and I walked out, and I got in the car, and I kind of looked around the car, and I'm like, and there was like a fancy like car trash bag thing on hanging there, and I'm like, that's not mine. And I looked, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm in the wrong car. But man, but like, yeah, but I guess people are just, maybe he thought they were trying to steal his car. You know, it said shoot first and ask questions later. We can't live like that. And I have said this a million times, and you know this. I've said it a million times. We can't go back to living in the Wild Wild West. That's not the answer either.
Yeah.
I mean, would I be thankful if I were in a store or something like that, and, you know, some masked gunman came in there and held us all hostage? If there was an off-duty police officer, or maybe an off-duty firefighter, or you know, someone with a legal license to carry, and in there, and you know, maybe shot the perp and saved our lives. But everybody just carrying a gun and just shooting first and asking questions later, we can't go back to living in the Wild Wild West. That's not the answer either. But that's the world we're living in today, unfortunately. And it just gets harder and harder for me to understand, and harder for me to function in this world. That's why I stay isolated in my little Glamper 30 miles outside the city limits in the woods. Hell, I'd rather take a beating as to have to go to Walmart these days.
Yeah.
Mm. Awful, awful, awful. So was they glad to have you back at work?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, our GM has been gone, though she was at conference, so I haven't seen her. She came back today, and today was my day off.
Oh. One of the girls accidentally tried to get in the wrong car. That's when she said a guy got out and they saw that he had a gun, and so they tried to speed off and he shot his gun. Huh. Probably just two young girls not paying attention. Well, I don't
it
know.
was
I don't know any of the details yet.
It was probably dark because I know they had just gotten out of cheer practice.
Yeah. Mm. Just so sad. Man. So what else is going on that I don't know about? She did roll down to the window to apologize and then he fired. Oh my God. Wow. Mm. I just don't know.
I don't know anything else. I already told you about the museum that we're going to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For your birthday?
Y'all.
They're going to some kind of museum in Seattle for her birthday. It's got stuff about Nirvana in it. It's got horror movie stuff and what else did you say was in there?
There's stuff from like Ghostbusters, Star Trek, Harry Potter, like everything. It's the Museum of Pop Culture.
Oh, okay. The Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle. That's where she's going for her birthday. Her and her hubby are big horror movie buffs. They met in college in a haunted house in the clown room. Mm. Yeah, I'm going to have to get caught up. Definitely. That was after she got out of his vehicle and into the correct vehicle. Wow. Unbelievable. Mm-mm-mm. People are just nuts. I mean, they're losing their shit over the least little thing. Yeah, did are any of y'all following the Lori Vallows Daybell trial or and listening to the testimony after it's been released to the media? That whole testimony from Colby Ryan was just so sad, and the phone call that they were there was four cheerleaders, they were carpooling, OOTU says.
Yeah.
I mean, I and she's so delusional. They said that when Colby walked into the courtroom, she smiled and said, "Oh, there's my baby." And then when he only looked at her a couple of times when he was on the stand, but then when he got as he was getting off the stand, he gave her the cold death Morgan stare. You know what the cold death Morgan stare is?
Yeah.
Yeah. You are, Eve. Just and I'm having a hard time following it and understanding it, just because I am not quite sure. Was I mean, I do believe that Chad was a complete con artist, but does Chad believe the own? Does he believe his own crap? Um, does Chad Daybell, is he just outright lying, or does he believe his own bullshit that he has spewed, and or what? I've always wondered that. Um, you know, um, these cult leaders that you know teach all this crazy stuff. We like the whole thing. That happened in Jonestown with Jim Jones. He took his own life. So you know, I don't know whether he actually believed his own bullshit, or was this just some evil ploy to con a bunch of people into taking their own lives. And then you have like Charles Manson, who I've studied a lot about and know a lot about Charles Manson, and I have listened to all of the family you know discuss things from back then, and what all happened, and everything. And his whole helter skelter ideology. Did he believe that, or was this some sort of a way that he, some kind of twisted way that he thought that to maybe throw the cops off his own track, because he himself had shot a black man and thought that he killed that guy, but the guy actually lived. But Charlie never knew that. And so, you know, um, the one thing I do know about Charlie is that when he got out of prison and he ended up in San Francisco, he was seeing the whole movement, and make peace and love and not war, and the whole and then there were a lot of preachers and people preaching in the streets and stuff, and he was picking all this up and he was soaking it all in, and he would take this knowledge basically and twist it into his own teachings. And then once things went south with the Beach Boys and all that, and he didn't get his record deal, and they ended up out at Spawn Ranch, that's when things got really heavy. The drug use got heavier. And that's when he started preaching all this helter skelter stuff, and, that there was going to be this big race war and all that, and that, but yet he put out that we're going to have to show them how it's done. So he was trying to help the blacks so to speak, in his own twisted way, get this whole race war kick-started and everything. And so that's why they went and did this and wrote piggies and did all that kind of stuff to make it look like black people had committed these crimes and killed these white people, when in all reality it had absolutely nothing to do with race. And Charlie Manson himself was a racist. And so why would he want to, help blacks? I think he was trying to get blacks in trouble, so to speak. None of it ever made any sense whatsoever. But then when you interview him about all of this, he denies every bit of it. Like, I didn't tell them people to go kill nobody. You can't tell somebody to do something they don't want already want to do. I didn't con these people into killing anybody. So he denies it all. So, it's hard to know, and it's hard to understand whether these so-called cult leaders believe their own bullshit that they're spewing, or is it all just an outright lie and nothing but a con? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Lori, oh, I know Lori does. I know Lori does. She does believe all her bullshit, and thinks she's a god. Yeah, absolutely. She believes her own bullshit. She believes everything out of Chad Daybell's mouth. So, like I said, I don't know what Bible she's reading, but it ain't the same one that I read that tells me that to watch out for false prophets. I can tell you that. And that thou shalt not kill, and that God is the only judge. Nowhere in my Bible does it tell me to go out and kill people that are dark workers. As a light worker, nowhere in the Bible does it give light workers permission to go out and kill dark workers. So I don't know. These people, it's like these people take a little bit of religion and just spin it into their own crazy ass narrative and spew it on to other people. But you know what? The truth is in the Word of God. It's not in Chad Daybell. I can tell you that much. I don't claim to know or understand all that the Bible teaches, but I can tell you the truth ain't in Chad Daybell, and he ain't leading me to the promised land. He ain't my ticket into heaven. Poor Lori Daybell, she gonna be standing there at the pearly gates going, what did I do wrong? Chad said it was all okay. Yes, he does, Kim. He sure does. The devil walks the earth. He sure does. Hell, my mother married the spawn of Satan. Chad is not going. Yeah, we've all wondered about that. And from what I was hearing today, that there's not even going to be but maybe a few witnesses that are even going to testify on behalf of the defense. The defense is actually being very, this trial is moving along a lot faster than what we all expected. And there was one court reporter who was guessing that, this trial may be wrapped up in another couple of weeks rather than a couple of months, because trial testimony is moving along, and the defense is, they're not asking too many questions. They're not, the cross-examination is not getting very detailed. You remember how it was with Jodi Arias. She would come home from school. Okay, all right, well, have a good night, OOTU. I'm going to be hitting the bed here pretty soon myself. You have a good night. Back during the Jodi Arias trial, she would come home from school, and watch the trial in the afternoons, and that was a big tit for tat, heated trial. And this one has been very, very laid back, and the defense is just not getting very, they're not getting nasty at all, really, with anybody in their cross-examination, and they're not asking a whole lot of questions. And so, this is, I feel like this is going to be, I feel like they're kind of doing this deliberately, so that they even don't make her look like a bad person. So, the jury is going to have a hard time with, okay, if they've got any sense, they're going to know, look, this lady can't tell me she didn't know what was going on. She may not have directly killed the children herself. There's no proof of that, but the whole conspiracy to kill the kids, and the conspiracy to kill Tammy, and the conspiracy to kill Charles, and all that stuff. I feel like the case is, to me, it's damaging. To me, it's damning. But in a court of law where you're given strict jury instructions to base your opinions on, or base your verdict on A, B, and C, you really start getting into some technical stuff. And if you can't base your decision without a reasonable doubt, then it becomes hard to, prosecute that person for it. Even though, you may think this or think that, things get more technical when you're serving on a jury, and you have to prove so many elements of a crime beyond a reasonable doubt. Like I said, this case is very circumstantial, even though it's like, okay, the smoking gun here is that, look, we found your kids buried in your husband's backyard, dismembered and burned, and all kinds of horrible stuff. And we know you said that they had become zombies. So 1 + 1 = 2. But I don't know, it's very circumstantial. There's not a whole lot of hard evidence. I think there's hard evidence in the whole, what she did regarding, like the bank and stuff and the fraud, the money part of it. But I just don't know how much as far as direct involvement proof other than just some circumstantial evidence is that they're going to be able to prove. Yes, it's going to be a hard decision for them. She looks pretty bad. She's involved with a man who killed his wife, was involved with a brother who killed her ex, and those two got together and killed the two kids, and they had others on the list. Yeah. I'll tell Lori, just like just like Lacey Peterson's mother told Scott Peterson, there's always divorce. That's what Lacey Peterson's mother told Scott Peterson. You didn't have to kill her. There's always divorce. So, you know what? She didn't have to kill them kids. She could have let those kids go live with someone else. She didn't have to kill Charles. Divorce him. He was divorcing her, actually. And yet God said it wasn't okay for Chad to divorce Tammy, but it was okay to kill her. All right. Okay. Okay, I don't know what God you serve, lady, but I don't think it's the same one I serve. I can tell you that. Like, I don't, this wasn't nothing but about greed and lust and they want to kill all these folks and be together and, live off all these dead people's money, and it's sickening and it's sad. Yeah, I think so too, Eve. I think they will prove some of it. I'm just wondering how, how much of it but like thinking up, you think back to like Casey Anthony, the Casey Anthony case. The reason why they couldn't find Casey guilty is because they could not prove how Kaylee died. So Jose Baez putting that theory out there that Kaylee drowned in the pool and that the dad covered it up or whatever. That was a circumstantial evidence case too. The Scott Peterson case, Lacey Peterson, that was circumstantial. There was really no hard evidence to prove that he had killed Lacey. It was circumstantial. So, circumstantial cases they're hit or miss. Really. And like I said, it's a decision for 12 random people to make. I'm almost glad I've never even been called for jury duty. Could you imagine me in our hometown being on a jury?
No.
Oh, Lord. I know all the judges, though. They probably wouldn't even let me be on a jury.
I did juvenile jury duty, and that was freaking pain in the ass
I
nightmare.
forgot you did that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about all that. Yeah, she did juvenile jury. Man, I totally forgot about all that. But you know, I am very serious though about, you know, it's one thing for me to, you know, be a YouTube creator and give my thoughts and opinions on a case here on YouTube, but you better believe you call me to be on a jury and you're going to have to show me some hard evidence that somebody is guilty. Just me thinking that they're guilty or thinking that they're probably guilty ain't gonna fly, because I have seen, you know, 3 people sent to prison, one of them to death row and the other 2, you know, life in prison for a crime that they didn't commit. So, and I've also seen another person sent to prison for life for a crime that they didn't commit. And I know how easy it is to twist. I mean, I've seen it done by, you know, pros. How easy it is to twist information and twist things to make someone look guilty, and then later find out the real truth and be like, oh my God, you know, because once you're convicted of a crime, yeah, you have these appeal processes and stuff, but it's a joke because your case keeps going back to the same judge that sent you to prison to start with. And then it goes to the Supreme Court, then they kick it back down to the trial court, and it just keeps going through this silly ass cycle of never ending crap. And, you know, it finally took getting the judge, after 20 years of fighting to get the West Memphis 3 out of prison, it took getting Judge Burnett out of the damn case, because he was never, ever going to overturn their conviction. Not in this lifetime. So, you know, it took actually getting him completely out of that case to get anything done in that situation. But I know firsthand, I've seen it done, how stuff and even circumstantial evidence can be twisted to make it appear as though something makes you look guilty when it doesn't. For instance, okay, there's a hole in the wall of your apartment, okay? Does that mean that someone shoved your head into the wall and beat your head into the wall just because there's a hole in the wall at the apartment? No, it don't. Never mind that that hole was there when you rented the apartment, you know. But then for a crime to take place there, and oh, there's this hole in the wall. Oh, so I guess you beat your wife and bashed her head into the wall, so you're guilty. You're guilty. No. And I've seen that done. I've seen it done. You couldn't, well, in all honesty, I mean, I don't know if I could either, in all honesty, Eve, because like I said, just me, just me sitting here having the opinion of thinking, okay, yeah, she has guilty knowledge of this, and yeah, she knew what was going on. Yeah, she knew, I'm not stupid. I didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday. She knew what the hell was going on, and blah 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 blah. Um, but like I said to you know, it's a whole different ball game when you're serving on a jury, and this person's life is in your hands. So, you know, gonna have to show me a little bit of harder evidence than, you know, I mean, you can't I can't as a juror just send somebody to prison for the rest of their life and say, yeah, I think she's guilty. Yeah, I think she knew about this, and I think she was in on it, involved. There's no I think about it. You got to show some hard evidence, because like I said, somebody like me who has seen evidence twisted to make someone look guilty who's not guilty, I've seen it done many times. So,
No, it's a long no.
and then there's the whole situation of evidence that doesn't make it into these trials. Um, you know, like for instance in the Jodi Arias trial, all that standing on her head and shit, and singing and talking to herself while she's waiting for Detective Flores to come in the room. Jury saw none of that crap. They didn't see any of that stuff. So there's so much evidence that don't make it into these trials because of it's against someone's rights, or it's more prejudicial than probative, or whatever.
Illegally obtained,
or it's illegally obtained. Yeah. Things like that. Yeah, I think she'll get some time, but I've got a bad feeling that she's not going to get as much time as we all think she should. Yeah. We'll see. That's a that's another, out there in Idaho, that's kind of another world, because I wonder how many people on her jury are Mormon. That's kind of Mormon country out there. So I wonder, how that's something I'd be curious to know, is what religion the people on her jury are, if they're Mormon or Christian or Baptist or what. That's something I'd be interested in knowing about. Because, like I said, I don't even begin to understand the Mormon religion, but even Mormons will tell you that, and I've read this a lot online, Mormons are completely ashamed of, what has happened to those kids, in the name of Mormon religion.
You should watch the show that me and Harley watched that's based on a true story that has to do with Mormonism. It's called Under the Banner of Heaven. I think you'd really like it. It's got Andrew Garfield in it, who's my favorite Spider-Man.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's about this man who, he's a detective, and he's working on this case of this guy who his wife and like 2-year-old child got murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And, the first suspect, of course, is him because, he showed up and found her dead. And, of course, police show up and he's, got her blood on his hands. But that's because, you show up to your house and your family's dead. Your, first instinct is to touch them to see if they might still be alive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But well, I'm not gonna spoil.
Yeah. What now? What'd you say the name of what channel is it on?
It's on Hulu. It's called Under the Banner of Heaven.
Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu. Y'all, if y'all have Hulu, go watch Under the Banner of Heaven. I think I'll probably maybe turn that on after I end this live.
Yeah,
and watch
me
it.
and Harley watched it because it's got Andrew Garfield in it, and of course I'm like obsessed with him, and I've watched like all his stuff. It's not it's not normally something that I would like and that I would watch, but it was actually like really interesting. I ended up looking up, what ended up happening with the actual case in real life too, and all that, because the way it didn't really end with like a full resolution.
Oh yeah. Huh. Well, cool. That'll be interesting to watch. Sounds interesting, and it's based on a true story.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure it takes place in Idaho.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool beans.
Might help you understand Mormonism a little bit and the like extreme aspects of it.
Yeah, like I said, the only
Oh no, it's not Idaho, it's Utah.
Utah. Okay. Yeah, well, that whole area out there, Idaho, Utah, Arizona, that's all kind of Mormon country, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, Eve, Chad and them invented their own religion, definitely.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize one of the guys that's in it was also in Scream 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, y'all, I think I've really, kind of discussed everything I wanted to talk about tonight. I just don't, things here on YouTube have just gotten to an all-time crazy level. What's being done, in Summer's case, and everyone just, constantly making money hand over fist off of Summerwell's name, and, making money off all of these tragedies and stuff. I just don't, I don't get it, and I don't understand why people still want to, continue to, feed the egos and feed, and fuel the money, and keep paying those memberships and giving people money hand over fist, and paying their way, off of it. I just, that's just not the way I was raised, and I don't for 1 minute believe that's something that my mother would ever be proud of me to do, is to be making blood money off of these tragedies, because we're all supposed to be afforded justice in the United States of America, and in liberty and justice for all. You know, not in liberty and justice for whoever can afford Johnny Cochran, you know, and not pay me for justice either. So, with that in mind, everybody, you know, here at the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, my motto, our motto here is that you go out in this world and you do what you have to do. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Stand up for victims, stand up for justice, and support justice. Go out in this world and be the change that you wish to see in this world. As Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. Peace out, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
What's happening, y'all? If you're looking for a sad true crime podcast, then get up off of that thing and boogie on over to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, where we give you the lowdown on all things true crime. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Catch you on the flip side.